today we visit Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, more particularly the Villa Ephrussi, which is one of the most beautiful palaces of the French Riviera. Béatrice Ephrussi discovered Cap Ferrat in 1905, at a time when the Côte d'Azur was a vacation spot for high society. Seduced by the natural beauty of the site, she acquired 7 hectares of rocky and barren land on the narrowest part of the peninsula, competing with King Leopold II of Belgium, who wanted to enlarge his adjoining property. Started in 1907, 5 years of gigantic works will be necessary to build this residence, reminding of the great houses of the Italian Renaissance. The site chosen for the villa was not particularly conducive to the creation of a garden. Indeed, creating a park on a rocky promontory covered with trees and exposed to strong winds was quite a tour de force. The Baroness has the ground dynamited and large quantities of soil were brought in to re-level the surface. There is 9 gardens built here, and we decide to start the visit with these gardens. The entrance to the Spanish garden is through a patio. We discover on our left a cave that gives access to a central canal surrounded by plants. The garden is notably composed of aquatic plants, pomegranate trees, star jasmines, and some other plants. This garden undeniably reminds us of the gardens of the Spanish palaces that we visited during our trip to Andalusia. Composed of an alley lined with century-old cypress trees, it's embellished with a horseshoe-shaped staircase, housing in its center a neoclassical statue of Jean-Baptiste Boyer, representing Zephyr thwarting the love of a rose and a butterfly. The staircase is prolonged by an alley of cypresses which dominates the bay of Villefranche-sur-Mer. This alley is lined with Hibelias, Streptosolen, Lentanas, Senecio, Raphiolapis. A magnificent jacaranda blooms in the middle of summer. This garden also hosts some remarkable specimens planted during the Belle Époque period. Enclosed in the form of a quadrilateral, the stone garden is shaded by a camphor laurel and a California bay tree. It features bas-reliefs and gargoyles originally from civil or religious buildings. It's an unusual sight that unfolds before our eyes here, an exquisite combination of works of art from diverse origins and eras. Here reigns an atmosphere of undergrowth. The Japanese garden was restored in spring 2003. It's called Chosekitei, which means a garden where you can calmly listen to the pleasant sound of the waves at twilight. It features different types of Japanese gardens recreated around the cedars and philaos planted at the beginning. There are dry, water and mountain gardens. The The atmosphere of plenitude and serenity that reigns there reminds us that this garden, very close to nature, is above all a garden of meditation. Adorning the tip of the rocky outcrop, the rose garden is an enchantment for the senses. Numerous varieties of roses fill the air with their fragrance at this far end of the garden.
Consequences go unnoticed, like the weight that's on our shoulders, pulling us down, but we don't know it. Or maybe we do, but just like the truth, we never show it. We don't need more money.
We then discover a special corner with a niche in openwork marble and a small hexagonal temple containing a graceful deity at its center. Formerly called the Mexican Garden, the exotic garden was nearly destroyed during the heavy frost of 1985 and was restored in 1987. Cut into winding paths, it's the kingdom of succulent and gigantic cacti. The various species of agaves with smooth or prickly leaves have achieved an impressive size over the years, and so too have the barberry figs that collapse under the weight of the flowers in the spring. The Provençal Garden, located on the opposite side of the Rose Garden, offers a picturesque view with its olive trees and pine trees bent by the wind. It spreads a pleasant smell with its lavender. Several small paths lead to the Temple of Love surrounded by aromatic plants, and from there to the French Garden.
Cunning, words that don't solve nothing. What are we becoming? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going?
Béatrice designed this main garden in the shape of ship's deck, decorated with waterfalls and ponds, with the Temple of Love at the bow. And, as she could see the sea on either side, she could imagine being on the board of the steamship Île-de-France, which is the name she gave to the villa in memory of an unforgettable journey. From the loggia, Admiral Béatrice could survey her team of 30 gardeners, all wearing berets with a red pom-pom. To add to the fairy tale feeling, musical fountains spring from the large pond like a grand aquatic ballet. Trees such as 100-year-old olive trees, cypress hedges and Aleppo pines have been pride of the garden. During the night, cleverly arranged lamps lit up the foliage and also the large pond. This meant that Béatrice could also admire the spectacle from a distance as she returned from her baccarat parties or from the casino at Monte Carlo. This garden comprises a high flower bed in front of the villa, lawns decorated with flame-topped urns and large Italian Renaissance urns called cardinal vases, a large oval flower bed with a channel and ornamental ponds, and an exotic touch provided by palm trees and the scent of agaves. After this magnificent visit of the gardens, let's go to the villa. The apartments of the Villa Ephrussi open onto a vast patio with its Renaissance arcades supported by columns of pink Verona marble. Béatrice was born in 1864. She was the daughter of the Baron Alphonse de Rothschild, a banker and renowned art collector, and of Leonora, a Rothschild too, but of the English branch. At the the age of 19, Béatrice married Maurice Ephrussi, a Parisian banker of Russian origin, 15 years older than her and a friend of her parents. Their marriage was celebrated in great style on 6 June 1883 at the synagogue Rue de la Victoire in Paris. The marriage quickly turned sour for Béatrice. She contracted a serious illness from Maurice, which prevented her from having children. Maurice was a gambler, and in 1904 his debt totaled over 12 million gold francs. Worried about the future, the Rothschild family decided to bring Maurice to court. They divorced in June 1904 after 21 years of marriage. Béatrice's father died in 1905 and the Baroness inherited his immense fortune. That same year, she decided to construct her dream home in Cap-Ferrat. Architect Jacques-Marcel Auburtin was eventually entrusted with the design of the villa, having scrupulously met all of Béatrice Ephrussy's requirements. The Baroness Ephrussi de Rothschild made her villa a true haven for art collectors with porcelain, furniture and paintings by the great masters. In 1934, suffering from tuberculosis, Béatrice retired to Davos in Switzerland, where she passed away. In 1933, a year before her death, Béatrice bequeathed her villa and the entirety of its collections to the Académie des Beaux-Arts. The Academy also received the 7 hectares of land and some 5,000 works of art. That same year, the landscape architect Louis Marchand was entrusted with designing the theme gardens of the estate. A Spanish, Florentine, Japanese and Mexican garden. He also had water put in the fountains and renovated the French formal gardens. With the war, Cap-Ferrat was deserted by its inhabitants and the area was mined. The villa remained unattended and the gardens abandoned for 2 years. In 1945, when Louis Marchand returned to the villa after the war, he quickly began work on the badly neglected gardens, soon restoring them to the pre-war splendor. The building was also renovated and a new color scheme chosen for the facade. On ochre yellow, the villa was painted in reddish-pink hues, providing it with a Venetian air. We are now in Cap-Ferrat on the present site of the lighthouse. In the 16th century, there was a fire tower which was used to guide ships in the roadstead of Villefranche. The current lighthouse was built in 1949 and lit in 1952. It was classified as a historical monument in 2012. Paloma Beach is considered as one of the most beautiful beaches, so we decide to go there. It will be a really short stay for us, because the beach doesn't really please us. The place is charming, but we didn't find it very pleasant, and moreover, it's a pebble beach. So we decide to walk, and we stop on the way at a bar hut, which gives us a beautiful view on the sea.
Another tear just burst from the side of your eye, and I know what you're saying, and I know it's a fucking lie.
After this small refreshment, direction the port of the village.
Damn lie, all this pain in those fine eyes.
The peninsula of Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat became a popular resort at the end of the 19th century. Arid and rocky land, there were just a few homes of some fishermen and farmers, the houses grouped around the church, and the port under the name of the hamlet of Saint-Jean, and was part of the commune of Villefranche-sur-Mer. In 1904, Saint-Jean separated from Villefranche-sur-Mer and became a separate municipality. At first called Saint-Jean-sur-Mer, the commune took the name of Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat in 1907.
Now the summer lies on my doorstep, and outside there's a light and it's getting bigger, and you know it.
In the 50s, tourism became more summer-focused, and Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat a fashionable seaside resort that welcomed celebrities from all over the world. We can mention Edith Piaf, Charlie Chaplin, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, Jean-Paul Belmondo, Roger Moore, Tony Curtis, David Niven or Romy Schneider, who got married there in 1966. but also politicians such as General de Gaulle, Winston Churchill, George Bush, Bill Clinton or Boris Yeltsin. Many artists also stayed there, such as Matisse or Jean Cocteau.
All this love and all this pain, you bring them from another world.
After this walk at the port, we returned to the lighthouse on the seaside and got onto a path to attend a wonderful sunset.
All this love